Oracle Unified Directory 12c, or OUD, supports REST APIs to administer OUD configuration and manage directory data. There are 3 REST APIs available in OUD: the REST Data Management API, the SCIM REST Data Management API, and the REST Administration API. The REST Data Management API allows you to manage directory data. For example, you may want to list users, create groups, or modify and delete entries. The SCIM REST API also allows you to manage directory data, but uses the SCIM API standard. The REST Administration APIs allow you to administer the OUD configuration. For example, you may want to update logger details, create extensions, or modify network groups. Let's first look at how to manage directory data using the REST Data Management API. To demonstrate this, we'll use the Postman application. Let's first create a new entry. All REST Data Management API calls are made to the HTTPS port of OUD using the endpoint /rest/v1/directory. Here, we make a post request to the endpoint and pass the details of the entry to be created in the body. In this case, we are creating a user test_user1 with relevant attributes. We click Send to make the API call. A 201 created message is returned. This, and the details in the response, show the user is created successfully. Now let's modify the user we created. Here, we make a patch request to modify test_user1, and in the body, pass the details of the attributes to update. In this case, we are adding the description attribute with a value test_user1. Click Send to make the request. A 200 OK message is returned. This, and the details in the response, show the user is modified successfully. Now let's take a look at the SCIM REST Data Management API. Let's first list all the users in the directory. SCIM REST API calls are also made to the HTTPS port of OUD, but use the endpoint /iam/directory/oud/scim/v1. To list all users, we make a GET request to this endpoint with /users and click Send. A 200 OK message is returned, and the list of all the users in the directory is displayed. Now using the SCIM API, let's delete the test_user1 we created earlier. In order to do this, we need to find the user's ID value. Click the search icon and enter test_user1, and copy the ID value for this user. Now select the Delete User entry. Here we make a delete request to the same endpoint, but add the ID of the user we want to delete, test_user1. After clicking Send, a 204 no content message is received, indicating the user was deleted successfully. To prove the user was deleted, select Get User Details. Here we make a GET request to the same endpoint with the ID of the user we deleted. After clicking Send, a 404 not found message is displayed, indicating the user does not exist. Now let's take a look at the REST Administration API and how it can be used to view or modify the OUD configuration. First, let's retrieve the file-based default logger flag values. REST Administration API calls are made to the HTTP admin connector port of OUD and use the endpoint /rest/v1/admin. Here, we make a GET request to the endpoint to fetch the OUD logger information. After clicking Send, a 200 OK message is displayed, and the logger attributes are returned. At present, the file-based debug logger is disabled, so let's enable it. Here we make a patch request to the same endpoint. In the body, we pass the value true for DSCFG enabled and click Send. A 200 OK message is displayed, and the logger attributes are returned with a logger now enabled. Now let's get details about the server instance. Here, we make a GET request to the admin endpoint, and in the body, pass the parameters to retrieve details about the OUD instance. After clicking Send, a 200 OK response is received, and details about the server instance are displayed. For more information on configuring OUD for use with REST APIs and the Postman collections shown, please see our tutorial.